talk about the keys to quality classroom assessment. The book that we've been reading covers the 5 keys to quality assessment, and it really focused on our assessments for learning and our assessments of learning, and making sure that we have a balanced mix of both and making sure that we are using both. The 5 keys are purpose, design, target, effective communication, and student involvement. Key number 1 is clear target, and those are our learning targets that we already have on the board. We need to start making sure that the students are using them and are capable of writing the learning targets or changing our learning targets as the class goes on. Make sure that our targets are not just on the board and never talked about. They can't just be words on the board. They need to be used by the kids. They need to know how they're going to be assessed on them. Students need to be able to identify how they achieved the target. What did we do today that made us know that we have achieved the learning target? What did we do today that connected to that target? And our assessments must be based on the type of the learning target. If it's a performance target, we need a performance assessment. If it's a knowledge target, we need a knowledge assessment. What I am doing differently in my classroom now. I have discussed targets with my students. This is our target. Does it make sense to you? What could we change? Discuss my targets with other teachers. Talking to my students about their assessments before they take them. This is what we're going to be doing. This is the target that it covers. Do you remember the activities we did? Making sure the target fits the big picture. Did that target actually go with the lesson? Connect the targets to life outside of school, which is easier in my class because of it being college and career readiness. It's a very realistic course. Helping students make personal connections to the target. If you were supposed to, your target in math class was to make change for $1, did you make change for $1 anytime during the week? And ask students what they already know about the target before the lesson. And I've done that through journal entries and things like that. Key number 2 is purpose. Our formative assessment is for the students to know where they are. Sometimes the grown-ups forget and only give assessments so they can know where a student is. But the student needs to know where they are so that they can grow. Students need to take control of their own learning by growing. And assessments for learning can be spontaneous, like self-checks. What am I doing different? Is there a pattern in the errors of my assessments? Maybe I need to change and eliminate questions on my assessments. I need to tell the students how the assessment will be used. Will they be able to make corrections? Allowing them to help design the questions or the rubrics even for the assessment. Sound design, balancing our assessment. We have the assessment map for creating our assessments. Just knowing these are the targets that are going to be on my assessment. These are the questions on the assessment that go with those targets, and then these are the type of questions so that I can make sure they're balanced. So I had 3 targets. One target got 5 multiple choice questions. The other one got 5 multiple choice questions. The third one was a big one, and I gave it an open response question. So that was a little more balanced than if I had 9 questions for one target and 1 for the other. What am I doing? I'm mapping my assessments, like on the handout. I'm reflecting and making changes as I see that things are or are not working. I'm making sure that my assessments fit the content, and I'm making sure assessments are able to be completed by students at all educational levels. If I have a student that struggles, I need to make sure that they get an assessment they can do. And if I have a student that is on a higher level, maybe they need a couple extra questions on their assessment. So making modifications for kids. Effective communication. The students are doing self-reflection. We do that every day in our class with journal questions. Reflections on the targets. Were they able to do it? Did they not understand it? Were they kind of in the middle? Do I need to reteach it? And students with goal setting, same kind of thing. The student should be able to self-assess, Do they understand it? Do they not understand it? That way we can plan what we're going to do the next day. Do we move on? Do we do it again? What am I doing? I'm providing multiple assessment opportunities for the kids. If they didn't get it, do it again. And give students more than one chance. If a kid had trouble with a written assessment, maybe they just need to tell me what they know and give me an oral assessment. Student involvement. Students need to make learning targets. They need to be physically in that process. And students making rubrics. I found when I had students help me with a rubric that I was more critical, or they were more critical than I was in the rubric. They wanted to make sure that they got every little bit covered, where mine was a little more generic. They graded themselves harder in creating the rubric, made it harder to get a 4. They added more criteria to each area, things like that. And what am I doing? I'm looking beyond the words of the students and focusing on what they're communicating. Maybe a student had a hard time actually developing sentences. Maybe they're not a strong writer. Maybe they're a special education student that just struggles with that area. Maybe they need to tell me. Maybe they need to draw a picture. Maybe they need to, I don't know, but whatever they need to do to tell me they've learned the learning target. Ask for oral explanations of what they know, and then make sure student backgrounds and cultures are considered with each assessment. Kids come with a lot of luggage every day to school. Make sure that that doesn't get in the way of what they need to know. Making sure that each kid has success, so for Success for All. By using these 5 keys, the students are now understanding that assessment is not what that we are doing to them, but what they are doing to show us how much they have learned. So we need to just step back and forget that we are not doing this to kids. The kids are showing us what they know.